Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Double honors and salutations to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to you brothers out here pushing this truth with fear and sincerity. And a shout out to the Hope for the Elect. This is your brother Khalak Har of GMS Northwest, coming back at you with another video. And as we've seen in the news the last couple of days, this Elias Rodriguez, who killed the two small hats in D.C., coming out of some museum. This is pushing more towards a civil war in Babylon the Great. We know Trump is going to come after the Israelites, the Christians. He's going to persecute the Christians. And it's talking about you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Because the finger is going to be pointed at you as you're the problem. You're the problem as to why there's small hat laws keep going up. You're the problem that there's crime in the cities. You're the problem that America can't be great again. So the finger is going to be pointed at you as the culprit, and laws are going to be passed, measures are going to be passed for you Israelites, to be persecuted, be thrown in prison, to be shackled, to be, thrown in jail, executed. This is what's coming down the pipe. And these little, you could call them psyops. Because if you think about it, at the end of the day, the Lord is the one that's bringing, the calamities in the earth. He's the one who's orchestrating everything that's going on. Amos 3:6, shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it? So the Lord is bringing the evil, the bad times in the city. And we know Esau, Edom, we know his time is short. The devil's time is short. So he's going to come down with great wrath, because he sees his kingdom, is at his last, brinks. It's on his last leg. So he's going to push. He's going to try to push. He's going to, what's his main agenda right now is the New World Order. Ordos Seclorium, something around that. It's like I can't, remember it off the top of my head. But it's the new order of the age. That's his main agenda, Man merging with machine, one world currency, one world government, one world religion, one way, Reminds you of the Tower of Babel, this confusion. And that's what the devil is come to promote. But we know the Lord is gonna, when his belly is filled, the Lord is gonna take him out. The Lord is gonna intervene. The Lord is gonna come back for the apples of his eye. And right now, he's only gonna come for the elect of the nation of Israel. But in the meantime, like we say, a trumpet is being blown in the city and the people not afraid. Evil is coming upon you Israelites, man, especially you 2/3. When we know us, and I say us, the hope for the elect, because we're calling on the name of the Father and his only begotten Son. We follow the law, statute, commandments to our best of our abilities, and we're in the thick of things, we're in the middle of it. So, hoping that the Lord intervenes and saves us out of it. But, you 2/3, you got a horrible punishment to go through, whether it be, the sword, whether it be famine, whether it be the civil war, because that's what's been, led on because of things like this. Like I said, because initially when I first saw the guy being arrested, I'm like, oh, this look like it's some Israeli type shit. Some Israeli turned on their own people. But no, lo and behold, it's Jake. You know, Jake at the forefront. And Jake is going to continue to be at the forefront of this thing, you know, until, you know, the heavy persecution comes. Because even in Matthew, here, let me finish that off. Surely, verse 7, surely the Lord power would do nothing but reveal his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. You know, so we know about the evil that's embarking on this nation, on Esau, Edom. This is Matthew 24 and 21. It says, for then shall there be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. That's Jacob's trouble. And except those days be shortened, there shall be no flesh saved, but for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. So, like I said, it's all about the elect of the nation of Israel, because they're the ones that's going to be saved through the end times of this. You know, they're the ones who are going to receive that salvation at the end of this thing, be beamed up in those chariots and behold and watch the destruction of Babylon the Great as they've been beamed up or looking through the sea glass. You know, but great tribulation is coming, you know, and as you can see it brewing up, you know, with this anti-small hat stuff. As a matter of fact, let's go to this right here. Slovakia. What's wrong with our society? To be on some other shit. This is a post from 13 hours ago. John Aziz said, I'm scared of the future of America. You know, as a matter of fact, do this real quick. I'm scared of the future in the West. Political murder is being glorified in a way normalized. And not even an assassination of a leader. This is the assassination of random people. This is extremely dangerous for everyone who lives in America. What Elias Rodriguez did to the highest expression of anti-Zionism. This person down here, Mordecai D., says, I have come to the conclusion that we are already in a low-grade civil war. The terrorist assassination of two small hats and the subsequential widespread justification of it among small hat haters was the last straw for me. So, you know, legislation and laws are being, you know, passed each and every day about, you know, coming against the small hats. And with this, Palestine versus, which is Ishmaelites versus Edomites over there in the land, which is not their land. They're fighting over something that's not theirs. You know, you're going to continue to have things happen like this, you know, and we, you know, as prophets of the Lord, you know, we go out there and speak our doctrine about who land that is, who's in, you know, who these people really are. You don't think these people are looking at us too, you know, and rubbing their hands together, thinking about what laws they want to put together? But like I said, this is more leaning towards a civil war. You know, hold on, an apocrypha. Bear with me. Second Edges, first Edges. That's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one right here. Second Edges 13 and 29 says, Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. And that's delivered in us upon the earth as the elect of the nation of Israel. The 144,000, and then 1/3 women, men, and children. From 1/3 women, men, and children from the elect of the nation, of Israel. It says, "And he shall come to astonishment of them that dwell on earth, and one shall undertake fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another." So this is all the fighting. One city against another, one place against another, one people against another. Yeah, it's gonna be, a civil war. You already got your red versus blue, but you got your so-called black versus white. Let me let you listen to Jake tell it.
Talk about this race war. Just know, every melanated person is ready. you know how ready we are. You don't understand that all of this stuff that we're doing to one another, if we just had a outlet, I promise you, it would be no problem. And you basically saying that if it does become something like that, neither side goes to jail. Oh my God, they're gonna have a ball on your candy ass. I'm just saying, bro. Y'all think. And the crazy part is, the ones who can't protect themselves is doing all of this, and the ones who can is trying to figure out who over here know how to protect themselves. See, it don't matter if you know how to aim and shoot. It just matter if you hit your fucking target.
Yeah, Jake is through. Jake through. Jake bugged out, got his shirt all open, long ass hair, talking about he ready to fight. Yeah, he ain't ready. You know why he ain't ready? Because he don't got Yahweh Shemi out shot. He think he's going to take up arms and go fight. Like he said, one versus another. I'm going to read it again, 2 Ezra 13-31. "And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And the time shall be, when these things shall come to pass, that the signs shall happen which I showed thee before, and then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascended." And when did Yahweh Shah ascend? You go to the book of Acts, the first chapter, and it talks about Yahweh Shah ascending. Let's get straight to it. Acts 1:9, it says, "When he had spoken these things, they had beheld him. He was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly towards the heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also say, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven." So that's that ascending. Get to this real quick, see what this about.
To fully.
Yeah, I'm not. So I thought it was a little, regular clip. But what we know, Rodriguez, 31 of Chicago, was observed pacing outside the museum Wednesday night prior to the shooting. Metropolitan Police Chief Pamela Smith told reporters after the shooting he allegedly walked into the museum and was detained by event security. So yeah, I'm not going to get all into it. You probably, if you're not up to it. He gunned down 2 Edomites. You know, he gunned down 2 Edomites and 2 small hat Edomites. You know, the Amalek. You know, and he, the Lord is rousing up, man. Judah, the Lord is rousing up the nation of Israel, man. You know, going back into the Apocrypha 15. Second Ezra 15 and 14, it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." The woe means destruction, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. And there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to, for because of their pride and the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and a great tribulation. Like we started off with, that great tribulation that's coming, Jacob's trouble, these civil wars, you know, one rim versus another rim, you know, people versus a people, you know, swords in their hands, stand up and fight against each other, one another. That's coming. So